I'm Paul Huizenga. We're here in Detroit, Michigan at GM's headquarters, and we're here for the 2016 Camaro Fine New Roads Tour. They're basically handing us the keys to a 2016 Camaro prototype. We don't have any schedule, we don't have any itinerary, we're just going to get a chance to experience the car in the real world. Now, just a few minutes ago, there was a random drawing to see which car we'd get. Now, what I drew was a 1LT V6 with an automatic transmission. You might be saying, well, wouldn't you rather have the SS? Wouldn't you rather have a manual? To tell you the truth, there are a couple of reasons that I'm glad that we drew this car. Number one, this is going to be a direct comparison to the car that I drove here at Belle Isle earlier this year at about 7/10 pace around the race course. I want to see what it's like in the real world as compared to on a track. Now, one area that Chevy really wanted to emphasize in these cars was technology, and that takes a couple of different forms. The instrument cluster is redesigned. It's still got the traditional steam gauge style analog tachometer and speedometer on either side, but in the center, it's got an improved display, even in the base model cars, higher resolution, a lot more information that's available there, and on the up-level trims, there's actually a full 8-inch display that's the same size as the one in the center stack in this car. There's some other neat touches in this car, like the air conditioning controls are built into the bezels of the center console vents, so rotating those controls the temperature and the fan speed. Now, this car is also a 4G LTE hotspot, which is nice if you're bringing along your laptop or something like that, tablet or whatever. Probably not the best thing to be using while you're driving, but still a convenient feature for our connected world. One bit of technology that you're probably not going to appreciate: no more manual parking brake, no handbrake turns. It's all electronic. You can't activate it while you're driving, so that's right out. But you got to take the good with the bad. I'm in beautiful Westport, Kentucky on the banks of the Ohio River. I had the better part of the day yesterday to experience this 2016 Camaro on the road, and it's time to talk some highs and lows. Now, obviously, power plant is going to be a high for this generation. You've got the 2.0-liter turbo, you've got the V6, which is what I've been driving, and you've got the V8 SS with the LT1 engine. There's a lot of options there, so performance, definitely a high. Weight is another high. There's a lot of pressure on car designers to add weight to vehicles as they age. More features, more safety stuff, additional airbags and that sort of thing. To take 200 plus pounds out of it, generation to generation, is a huge accomplishment. Al Oppenheiser even mentioned the fact that they did things like checking the length of suspension bolts to make sure that they didn't have any fasteners that were longer than they absolutely had to be to reduce unsprung weight. That's a big plus. Kudos to them for making that happen. Lows. Well, I'm going to come right out and say it. Outward visibility is a low. The belt line is very high. This car has no better visibility to the rear quarters than the previous generation, and changing lanes on the freeway is a little bit of an act of faith. You got to have those mirrors adjusted just right. Now, as far as styling goes, that's a split decision. Obviously, the 5th generation car was very popular, sold very well. People liked the way it looked, and this car looks like a 5th gen. To tell you the truth, in the time that I've had the car, it really hasn't gotten a second glance, not even from 5th gen owners. It's a little bit smaller in all dimensions, but unless you put the cars side by side, you'd really be hard-pressed to tell. I wish they'd gone a little bit further out on a limb with it and made it more visually distinct generation to generation, but clearly the marketplace is going to tell us whether people like the way this car looks or not. Well, after 2 days and almost 600 miles on the road, we brought together all 6 generations of Camaro together in one place with some help from our friends. We're here at the Bowling Green, Kentucky National Corvette Museum. So what can we say about this car after the time we spent with it? The jump between the 5th and 6th gen certainly isn't as pronounced as it was between the 4th and 5th, but then again, there wasn't an 8-year layoff. Overall, this car's got a lot going for it. They've done the right things, given it more power, made it lighter, made it smaller. Time will tell, but I think that this has got the right bones to be a proud successor to the Camaro heritage. Plus, we've got a lot to look forward to. Nameplates like 1LE, ZL1, Z28. it's going to be a good generation.